Hi folks, welcome to today's color process video. Right, today's comic was quite the ordeal to say the least. I decided because I pictured the comic being a bit more complicated to color that for now I would color it in Photoshop on my laptop rather than coloring it on my iPad Pro. I didn't feel quite confident enough to do what I was planning on doing, which was like more detailed, painterly looking backgrounds. However, in the end, I probably would have been better off doing it on the iPad Pro because it was one of those cases where every color choice I was making just seemed to be the wrong choice. Like nothing was working for me. Um, like I was trying to blend colors together to create this like nice kind of painterly look, and it was just creating this muddled, muddy mess. Um, and it got to the point where I actually came very close to scrapping it and leaving it till like tomorrow to do it. But I had to get it done tonight because I don't want to be piling more work on top of myself. So I decided to scrap most of what I'd done, which isn't to say I started from scratch. More like I undid a lot of the work I did in terms of the more painterly kind of look I was going for. I decided to just try to render everything in flats because both for time reasons and for aesthetic reasons. Um, I think the one trouble, the one reason, or the one big reason, things turned out way too messy in the original color style was because I kind of broke my rule of less is more when it comes to my color choices. Like one thing I like to do a lot is to, and I've mentioned this before, but one thing I like to do a lot is to use repeating colors throughout my comics. So say if you look at the final version of this comic, the the kind of pink red of the character's shirt and shoes, I used an altered version of that for the sky and for the X and the trail on the map and so on and so forth. And I think that's very important to do. And the risk you run into sometimes when you're working digitally and when you're like doing these kind of like painterly kind of like working in a painterly style is you have access to every color possible, and you suddenly start throwing every color onto the screen, and it just creates like a very muddled, muddy looking mess. So I decided to pare things way, way back and do what I was talking about, where I would use the fewest colors I could, and also go for colors that weren't quite as out of the tube like some of my original color choices were. Like originally, the sky was going to be kind of a greenish blue, the grass was green, like typical colors you would think of when you think sky, grass. So I think the colors I went for here are much better. Like it doesn't exactly make sense that grass would be kind of this grayish purple color, but it works, and that's something I have to remember, and you have to remember when you're coloring something that often you have to go for colors that may not logically make sense, but artistically they make sense. And yeah, so look, I need to stop this video right now, get a bite to eat because I'm absolutely wrecked. Like I spent I spent over 3 hours on this comic. This comic should have only taken me an hour, hour and a half to do, and it is ridiculous that it took me that long to do. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll talk to you at the next video. Take care.